shepherds, and Jesus has been born in the city of Bethlehem. Before the screen distorts, and then nothing is normal.
Bruce Wayne, Robert Pattinson, you're Bruce Wayne. Go live like you're rich in a mansion somewhere. No one's gonna freaking bother you. Or work a night job. And Edward Cullen, I think, canonically, this dude has the biggest issues with blood. Well, I guess there's other brother of his that attacked Bella. But Edward has issues with blood, like he cannot do it, like he feeds on animals. He's such a good, righteous man. He feeds on animals so he doesn't have to feed on humans, but he has problems with blood, right? And this is what he looks like when the sun's on him. I get it, Forks is a cloudy area, but this is still a high-risk environment you're putting a vampire like him into. So I have to ask myself why this makes no sense. And of all those years that he's there, what's he doing?
This is the first episode on the channel. So, like, I'm like, alright, is this another ARG? I've seen 8 million of these. I'm tough, so I turn it on at night by myself, and it's that. Like, I saw the face and the
But this land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our dreams.
After Mary speaks to this redacted angel, we then hear the angel say something that's completely unintelligible. Now, I know that there's hidden messages within the captions of this video, however, I want to save that for the video. We then see Joseph sleeping in his bed as this redacted angel comes to the window and says that he will know the shepherd's fear and that he will trick the shepherds before repeating, "Wake up, Joseph," over and over. We then get an alternate scene of the opening, wherever Gabriel came to the angels, only this time it's on a redacted or fake angel. Remember, the way these doppelgangers work is they replace someone to take on their identity. So we now have this figure, which is the body of Gabriel with another blacked out box over the head, before he says to the shepherds, "I know what makes you human, I know what you love, and what you dread," before his face glitches and this happens.
Tired of bread and stew? Had enough of fish and fowl? Choose yourself and your kin for a choice cut of steak or a tender
Those
wrap
old
of ribs.
apples you sold me the other day were delicious. Aren't they?
Now,
I always set some aside for myself when the traders bring them up from the south.
I'm sure you can charge double for those. And the fact that little uncanny stuff gets mixed. But the combination between the distorted music and the face, everything put together absolutely destroyed me for a while. Like I said, that whenever I've been going to sleep, I keep seeing his face over and over. It's this face. And what's funny is, a couple of you are probably looking at like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that you're tough. I'm glad you're right cool. And I'm glad that you're going to be able to sleep tonight, because I won't. We then see a tapestry red across the sky. It says, "Can't you see like a sea such weak mind?" When the text color shifts to light, and we see this message.
We'll keep Riverwood safe. You can count on us. Let's move out. Hands away.
Infinite and not the same, will be my king. And my foolishness will be my legacy. There is a God, please help me. Now, there's certainly a lot to break down there, and I could do that now, or I could make you wait for the end of it, and I think I'm going to make you wait for the end of it. The reason being, it's going to make a lot more sense when I talk about all of this stuff. So for now, let's move on to the next one, Intruder. Intruder is the fourth video.
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy. More inside.
We then switch to another one from the Mandela County Awareness Association. We're going to show an educational video to teach parents how to properly keep children. We then see a television set that has normal things on it.
I don't claim to be the best blacksmith in Whiterun. The Orland Greymane's got that one. Man's steel is legendary. Have you met my father? He's a... Yes, actually. How about you smith me an iron dagger? Here's everything you need to make one. Go ahead. Blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs.
We can assume that whatever this space is, it's part of this mimic or alternate.
Don't forget to check inside the shop if you need anything.
They are now capable of using television sets. We then see the message that if your child is poor, you should wait.
I help my father in more ways than people
Which is
realize.
definitely something that you advise to do. Before shows a diagram of a mother walking with her spirit child as the cradle is empty, and then that face again on the TV. We then get a slow diagram that shows the woman herself with the message, distraught and infant. So it seems what happens.
Not bad.
This altar
Reminds me what I've heard during this.
by someone who took the child and his message said, distraught at the fact that this infant, the world. This is the second time in the series we've seen something
You yes?
over what these alternatives do. We then flip
Not
over
bad,
to
but
the
it's a little dull.
emergency
How
alert.
about you sharpen it up?
It says
Just need a bit of metal and the grindstone over there.
3,426
The
missing
finest
children.
weapons in
I don't
armor.
even know how this is just a Mandela County problem anymore. Like, if that many kids went missing, wouldn't, like, the military or Batman or someone get involved? We get the important details about the TV immediately after, as the message then says to keep kids away from the TV and anything that can produce frightening imagery. We then cut over to what is a Mandela County police investigation of the case. It says after they heard the child crying in a crack, they could not find their child, to which the mother
Until next time.
The investigator goes, takes this one image of the house, and has
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy. More inside.
One of the officers decided to go inside and set up a camera outside of the room in which this occurred. For some reason, none of the police want to play in the room itself. This is the order of images that we see from the camera that the officer set up. Initially, it's nothing.
I don't claim to be the best blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs.
Previous video, we see a face which is identical to the face we have seen in the television up until this point. Before we get this horrific shot of a redacted black square on the staircase with the message, "Victim's corpse is seen being tampered with by invisible
Don't forget to
source."
check inside the shop if you need anything.
About this, and this made me crack up watching it initially. For all of the pictures it has in the bottom right, the current threat level, like threat level 1, threat level minimal, whatever. And
Have you met my father? He's a steward up at Dragon's Reach. I help my father in more ways than... plenty. I'd say we're prosperous enough. Most folk don't go hungry, if they're willing to work hard. The city's ruled by the Jarl up in Dragon's Reach. That's the fortress there, up on the tall hill. But you're probably more interested in your Vasker, Mead Hall of the Companions. Their deeds of war and valor are legendary. The finest weapons and armor.
Think about it this way. These things want to get to the point in which they can completely take on the physical form of a person. If I'm correct about Caesar being one of the alternates, then that's his final stage, and his next point wasn't to kill Mark, it was to have another one follow him home. So the final end goal that these things want to be at is to take
All right, then.
life. But we see some of them don't operate like that. Like, for example, the one followed Mark's home, and now the one that's in his house. Instead, both of them operated with fear. Remember that message whenever it was explained to police call operators why they were never supposed to send anyone to help someone who's had such an encounter? Do you remember the message that said not talk too much because they may find out what you're afraid of? I think what happens is these redacteds, which from here on out we're going to refer to as intruders, I believe...
You know what's wrong with Skyrim these days? Everyone's obsessed with that.
Got something for just about everybody in here. Give a holler if you have any questions. Everything's for sale, my friend. Oh, a bit of this and a bit of that.
Alternate Jesus mentioned in Overthrown when he said that he will know what the shepherds fear. So these creatures, this whole cluster, all different three types that we've seen so far that have been referred to as alternates, all use fear as a means of getting to people. And the reason that they do that is to make people commit. See what happened with Mark. This creature followed him home and tormented him for days on end until Mark couldn't take it anymore. And then whenever he does take the shot, the message that comes on screen says, "Uh-oh, bad decision, Mark." Before we see that creature run up to the camera and supposedly put his face in it. As if this creature has been waiting on the edge of the sea for
Interesting,
opportunity
to say the
for
least.
Mark. himself.
What with all that's been going on the one hand, supplies are harder to come by since fewer traders are traveling the roads these days. But on the other, the scarcity of supplies has led to some elevated prices. All that matters is that I have what you need, and it's worth every scepter. Isn't it obvious? By the wonderful weather and hospitable people, of course. Not to mention my great fondness for dragons and petty political power struggles. But without a doubt, the most compelling feature of this frozen wasteland is the volley of inane questions leveled at me on a regular basis. Isn't it obvious? By the wonderful weather and hospitable people, of course.
He committed one of the intruders took over his body.
Nothing of our struggles, our suffering.
And what of my son? What of Foro? Is he nothing? So don't talk to me.
Your son chose his side and he chose poorly, and now he's gone. Such is the way of war. The super Greymane or Battleborn. Got stones in your ears? I asked what side you're on. Greymane or Battleborn. New in town, huh? Whiterun's got two clans, both old and both respected. Difference is, the Greymanes turned their backs on the Empire, and we Battleborn stayed loyal. So I'll ask again, Greymane or Battleborn? Then I say, well met, friend. I could tell you were a sharp one the moment I laid eyes on you. Long live the Empire.
My son still lives. I feel it in my heart. So tell me, Battleborn, where is he?
Tired of register.
Where are you
Had
holding
enough
my
of fish and fowl. Treat yourself and your kindred. You believe for a tender rack of rib.
Why, I've got him in my cellar. He's my prisoner. Face it, your stupid son's dead. He died a storm clear traitor.
Let me know if you see anything you like.
So then it talks about ways to avoid mad, and it says some interesting stuff. It first says to avoid religious beliefs and philosophical practices.
Fine potion we put together.
And if you're following through and you think it's diving in your face, do not open it. It's watching. Which is the horrifying idea, because one of these intruders are in your house and you're found basically right in front of your face. Alright, so we've gone through it. Pat yourself on the back. You were very brave and I'm proud of you. And while at this point I'm pretty confident in my theory that this is how
If there's anything I can help you with, you have
we
but
still
to
don't
ask.
know what they are. At least not yet. If you remember in the overthrow,
You look
there was
rather
a couple
pale.
of hidden messages
Could be ataxia.
that I didn't get
As
to
long as you clean up.
stick to them now.
You know how to use it, right? Mix a couple of ingredients together, see what happens. A little wheat and blisterwort makes a healing potion, if you didn't know. We have plenty of ingredients for sale, too. I think I can teach you a thing or two.
Who's currently the top comment on that video for doing the translation. Which, if you translate that binary, you get the message: I am the one true savior. I am the For one, the Joseph is next part lines up because the next thing that we
Of a
see
sort.
is this
I don't have
same
formal
fake
training in the restoration
outside
school,
Joseph's
but
window talking to you.
something
However,
just
that
as
line,
good.
I am the one true savior, is
Within
what's
these
in
walls, I have all that I need to brew a potion for nearly any ailment. If I had a septum for every case of rock joint or whitbane I've cured since I opened this shop, I'd be a rich woman indeed. Why? Because I'm a proud citizen of the Empire? Because the Stormcloaks only want Nords in Skyrim? The Stormcloaks can rot in oblivion for all I care. I've lived in the city for 20 years. 20!
Ask it not, reader, or
So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Come back anytime if you need a remedy.
Need supplies? See Bellathor at his store. Sleazy.
Let me know if you see anything you like. Everything's... Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures. Do come back.
You know what's wrong with Skyrim these days? Everyone's obsessed with death.
Once I've made enough money trading with the Khajiit caravans, I'm going to buy the bannered mare from Hulda. Before my ma and Da passed, I told them that one day, I'd become the best trader in Skyrim. I met one of the caravan leaders, Madran. He said he'd help me get started if I could bring him a mammoth's tusk. Easier said than done. You'd do that? If you find one, I could teach you a thing or two about trading. Help you get a fair bargain in the future? Yeah, these Khajiit make a living traveling the roads and selling their wares. It's got to be tough. Skyrim's a hard enough land when you've got a roof over your head. Worst thing is, nobody wants them in the cities. Nobody trusts them. Matter of fact, I do. They've been fair enough with me, far as I can tell. And a Nord knows a liar when she sees one. About the same as everyone else. They're the catfolk of Elsewhere. Great warriors, good traders. Way I hear it, Elsewhere ain't nothing like Skyrim. It's got tropical forests and dusty badlands. It sounds awful. Yeah, these Khajiit make a living traveling the roads and selling their wares. It's got to be tough. Skyrim's a hard enough land when you've got a roof over your head. Worst thing is, nobody wants them in the cities. Nobody trusts them. Reputation, mostly. A lot of Khajiit turn to smuggling and thievery to get by. A few bad apples spoil the bunch. You know how it is. Farewell.
Right, fruit and... Life's hard enough with all these men propositioning me. But that bard is the worst. That bard Mikhail is begging for a dagger up against his throat, the way he goes on about me. I heard him boasting at the Bannered Mare, saying he'll conquer me as a true Nord conquers any harsh beast. Huh. If you want to try, go right ahead. I don't think anything will get through that thick skull of his, though. You've got no idea. Half the men in Whiterun have proposed to me. Some were even single. They'll never understand. No amount of flowers or honeyed words are going to change my mind. Right now, all that matters is my daughter Mila. No man's going to get between me and my little girl. Remember, fresh fruit and vegetables every day.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wilds. Oh yes, hunting is my great passion. That's why my brother and I opened a shop to sell hunting supplies. It's the Drunken Huntsman down by the main gate. He tends the store, and I've got this stall. Oh, a bit of this and a bit of that. Good hunting.
Once I've made enough money trading with the... Yeah, these Khajiit make a living traveling the roads and selling their wares.
All I can think about is my son, my Thorold. They say that he was killed, but I know better. I know my son is alive. Those battle-born, they're in with the Imperials. They know it too, and yet they lie to my very face. It's not wise to discuss it here. Please, if you truly wish to help, meet me at my home. I'll tell you the whole story.
I spend a lot of time at the market stall so I can learn the merchant's trade. I need more experience if I'm going to run an inn someday. It's not easy being a woman in Skyrim, I know. But stay strong, and men will come to respect you, and maybe even fear you.
Tired of bread and stew? Had enough of fish and fowl? Treat yourself and your kin to a choice cut of steak or tender wrapped ribs.
I know your family's honor is important to you, but we can't afford it.
What do you need? He's dead. I can't stop now, and I can't get the sword on my own.
So you're willing to starve your wife and daughter to reclaim some rusty old sword?
Cause trouble in Whiterun.
Right
Maybe
now,
I'll haul you
bloody
into the Dragon's Reach dungeon myself.
10 septims tomorrow, baby Battleborn. I'm gonna bloody your nose and your wife.
No, please! I really don't have any money. I'll give you 10 septims tomorrow.
Welcome to our home.
Mother, what's the meaning of this? Who have you brought into our home?
Avrelstein, put that down. She's here to help us find Thorold.
How do we know she's not spying for the Battleborn? This was foolish. We can't trust anyone. Who knows what they'll do if they find me here.
I can't take any more of this. No weapons, please. Let's just talk.
All right, Mother. So, you're here to help? I know that Thorald's not dead. I just know it. The Imperials have him and are keeping him somewhere, but I don't know where. Those damned Battleborns, they know something. They're hiding it. They practically taunt us with it. They must have some sort of proof. There's gotta be something in that house of theirs. I just know it. I don't dare leave the house myself, so I need your help. Anything that confirms that Thorald isn't dead, but is being held captive. I know those Battleborns have it. They'd be hiding it, of course. Wouldn't want it to get out that they've been lying this whole time. But you might be able to butter them up enough to lower their guard. The Battleborns, the Emperor's biggest bootlickers here in Whiterun. Their connections to the Empire and the Legion are well known. When Thorald didn't return home, there was no question in my mind. They knew Thorald supported the Stormcloaks, knew he was gonna aid them in battle, made sure he didn't come back. Locked him up someplace to get back at my family. I'm sure of it. The Battleborns, the Emperor's biggest bootlickers here in Whiterun.
Please, anything you can do to help me find my Thorald. It's hardly a secret that they have ties to the Empire and hate anyone who speaks out against it. Thorald did worse. He took action against the Empire, and the Battleborns knew it. He's my son. I feel it in my heart. Oh, you'd understand if you had children. He's my son. I feel it in my heart. Oh, you'd understand if you had children. I can tell you're new around here asking a question like that. My husband, Eorland, tends the Skyforge up at Jorvaskr. The Companion's Mead Hall. Oh, there's no finer smith in the Nine Halls. You should ask him about his work. It's the only subject that'll get him talking. Well, that and maybe those stuck-up, dung-sniffing Battleborns. Head up the steps from the market and look to your right. Can't miss it. You
Best
take
if
care of
you
yourself
didn't
now.
mention to anyone that you saw me here.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often?
My friend
insane.
Maven and I.
Of course you don't.
Have you met Maven in Riften? We know our place in this world. Know the place of others, too.
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy. More inside.
Maybe some other time I'll reveal your destiny. Come to Olava for a reading, did you? Sorry, pup, but I'm not quite in the mood.
I'm the town beggar like everyone else. But I've got a right to browse, don't I?
Make it quick.
Takes a fair bit of strength to carry a great sword like that. But can you use it?
What are you looking at? I'm not a boys, girl. Hey, you wanna play a game? Really? Alright, you pick. Tag or hide and seek. Okay, you're it. Ha, you caught me.
Can I help you?
Rorikstedt's a nice enough little hamlet, but a boring posting for a guard. If a dragon
Need
attacks,
supplies?
well,
See
then it'll be a
Bellathor at
different
his
story.
store. Sleazy little man, but he has good stock.
Meow. Mushu. 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 Hi, baby boy. Oh, big yawn. Good job, baby.
ribs.
I ain't done nothing.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, and warm beds. If it's work you need, how about chopping up some wood for the fires? I should have guessed as much. Your kind sticks to that college in Winterhold, as well they should. You'd never think to learn from a Nord like the Jarl's wizard. Let's sate that appetite, hmm? Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room, right this way. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
I can't figure out how to get this exhaustion thing gone.
Hey, that isn't yours.
Come quietly or taste the Jarl's justice.
Uh-oh.
By the order of the Jarl. Stop right there. Smart woman. Now come along with us. We'll take any stolen goods and you'll be free to go. After you pay the fine, of course.
Where? Not there. Okay. How do I change it? Survival mode. Oh, nice. That's pretty again.
Once I've made enough money trading with the Khajiit caravans, I'm going to buy the bannered mare from Hulda.
You've been a good friend to me. That means something. Damn those Greymanes to oblivion. They want to back the Stormcloaks, they'll get what's coming to them. Haven't you heard it by now? He made the mistake of supporting the Stormcloaks, and it cost him. Bitter news for his family, but a fate they should have expected. He fought on the wrong side, and he paid for it. That's all I have to say. Long live the Empire.
God, what as man? What you were once man, aye, and as you have come. You have come to hear the word of... because the so-called Emperor is a coward. That's right, I said coward! Oh yes, he agreed to banish the worship of Talos at the tip of an Altmeri sword. They called it the White Gold Concordat. Well, I call it blasphemy. A true son of the Empire would never have turned his back on our greatest hero. Not
I'm doing okay.
anyways.
A little sleepy.
Well, let me tell you something, friend. Cyrodiil is a long way from here. And in Skyrim, we will never forsake mighty Talos. Let them come. I have no fear, for Talos is my ally, and I am his prophet. His word is upon my lips, his voice in my throat. Hello, my friend. If you seek knowledge about mighty Talos, you have most certainly come to the right person. In mortal life, Talos was a Nord, possessed of unmatched tactical skill, limitless wisdom, and the power to see into men's hearts. Talos mastered the power of the voice, and with it he united the lands of men into a great empire. In southern lands, he was known by the name Tiber Septim. Here in Skyrim, we honor him by his proper Nord name. So great was his reign in life. When he ascended to the heavens, he was made Lord of the Divines. If you want to know more, I'm sure you can find any number of tomes on the subject. I breathe now in royalty and reshape this land which is mine. For you, Red Legion,
Yes? Hmm? Are you kidding? I've wanted to be with them since I was a little girl. Haven't you heard the stories of Kodlak and Skjor fighting off the 101 orc berserkers? Skjor says it was more like 40, but he's just being modest. Where else would I want to be but here? Learning from them, fighting at their sides. Only the most famous warrior band in all of Skyrim. Have you been living with the Horkers? When we arrive, blood is spilled and our blades sing to the glories of Ysgramor. This is life, sister. The struggle is what reminds us to draw breath. The Circle are the ones who parcel out the jobs. That's Ayla, Skjor, and the brothers, Farkas and Vilkas. Kodlak advises them, but he doesn't really give orders. Until next time.
Oh, I'm just a servant, dear. You want to talk to one of the companions, I'm sure. A good bunch of men and women who make too much a mess, if you ask me. A good bunch of men and women who make too much a mess,
Ysgramor
if
himself
you ask me.
wouldn't have the patience to deal with all the rabble around here. Kodlak says not to worry about it. I worry that a bunch of snowberries are out there earning glory while we stay out of it. But I will follow the old man's lead, as ever. My mother was a companion, and her mother, and all the women in my family back to Harati Blackblade. I stayed with my father in the woods until I was old enough for my trial. We hunted everything there was to hunt. Good training. Ma didn't live long enough to see me join, but I fight to honor her and all my shield sisters through time. An outsider, eh? Never heard of the Companions? An order of warriors. We are brothers and sisters in honor. And we show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough. We don't just take in any milk drinker who stumbles in. Talk to Kodlak if you think you have what it takes to be a companion. We don't just take in any milk drinker who stumbles in. Talk to Kodlak if you think you have what it takes to be a companion.
better already.
Welcome, child. The Gilder Green, yes. It's a bit of an eyesore at the moment. More of a problem for the pilgrims than for me, but not many of them around anymore. A big dead tree isn't very inspiring if you're coming to worship the divine of wind and rains. Kynareth gives life, and we need a living tree to be her symbol. I've thought about that. Trees like this never really die, they only slumber. I think if we had some of the sap from the parent tree, we could wake up its child. But even if you could get to the elderly, you couldn't tap it. Not with any normal metal. If you want to help, you'll need something to cut into it first. You'll have to deal with the hag ravens. I've heard about the weapon they've made for sacrificing Spriggans. It's called Nettlebane. The hags terrify me, or I would have gone after it myself. Your spirit is strong. Kynareth's winds will guide your path. It's held in a hagraven nest called Orphan Rock.
God's bless you. Yes, ma'am?
Better already.
Oh, why do you want to be in front of the screen? I'm trying to play a video game. Why do you gotta be right in front of the screen?
So, have you gotten Nettlebane back from those filthy hag ravens yet?
Just sit with mommy. Just sit with mommy.
So, have you gotten Nettlebane back from those filthy hag ravens yet?
I just got here, lady.
Please, anything you can do to help me find my Thorold.
What is it? Dragons?
Ulfred, patron of the great clan Battleborn. A name I'm sure you know well. I'm as much a Nord as the next man, but I'm no fool. What's there to say? You go against the Empire, you wind up dead. Thorold got what was coming to him. Best not to ask too many questions about it. People might get the wrong idea about you. Battleborn is a name out of legend, sung in the songs of old and heard in deeds of valor for 100 generations. For Clan Battleborn they cry in the mead halls, first into the fray and last to quit their ale. We've got honor, wealth, and titles too, aye, and buxom women to warm your bed on a cold Skyrim night. Now, if that don't answer your question, then no words will. Uncivilized pelt-wearing axe-draggers. It's a wonder they don't still live in a cave like those ancestors they keep boasting about. It's true, the Vignar Greymane and his lot are one of Whiterun's oldest and, depending on who you ask, most respected clans. I don't dispute that. But it's one thing to take pride in your lineage, and another to cling blindly to the past. What they call honor and tradition, I call ignorance. Money, you laggard. What else? It always comes down to coin. The Greymanes have deep roots in Whiterun, but so do we. Difference is, we're rich. And Big Nar hates it. Oh, and they hate it too. All their big talk of pride and honor. What have they got to show for it? Beggars' rags and stale bread. We've got the same pride, same honor, and we've got wealth. No wonder they envy us.
Hi, Lydia. You want my chair?
I write it not, because all language would be insufficient. I did not die, and I alive remain not. Think for thyself now. Hast thou aught to wit what I became, being of both deprived? What I just read to you is from the 35th canto of Dante's Inferno, which Dante's Inferno is a story of the character Dante and his journey through hell. What I just read is the passage that Dante says whenever he comes face to face with the devil. So think about how this is framed. We have this creature that is wanting to replace Jesus. He is essentially rewriting history for what we see. And then after we finally see him, we get the passage from Dante's Inferno whenever the man views Satan himself. I believe that what we're seeing, and I believe the entire story of the Mandela catalog, is that Lucifer overthrew Jesus whenever Jesus came to earth, and now history is played out not at the rule of Christ, but at the rule of demons. See, all of the lines that we've seen so far in Overthrown is of this fake angel, or Lucifer as I'm going to call him from now on, saying that he can be the one true Savior, that he just has to deceive everyone. And his mentions that he will make them know fear. So now, looking at the text in red, and let's assume that's Lucifer at the end of Overthrown, it says, "Can't you see, I deceive them, such weak minds," referring to the fact that Lucifer has taken the place of God in these people's eyes. So then because of that, I believe the text in white that follows is the now overthrown Jesus, as the title implies. I'm getting like goosebumps talking about this right now. As you can imagine, this is a little touchy for me, but the fact that I'm so freaked out about it is why I think the series is so good, because it genuinely is getting to me. I think this final text at the end of the video, where it talks about being bound and being stuck in infinite sand, before the lines, "If there is a God, please help me," is the now human Jesus cursed to forever walk the earth because Lucifer kicked him out of his role in eternity. And also, if you think that I'm introducing religious ideas into this story, the first video on the channel is of the nativity story and the birth of Jesus. So I didn't do it, he did it first. So what does that mean for all these alternates and intruders that we've seen? I believe that these are demons priming their takeover of Earth. Think about it this way. These demons, as it says, exist on different planes. They're not allowed to cross the barrier over into our world. However, if they have forbidden knowledge and if they can convince someone to, they can then possess their corpse in a quite more literal possession than what we've talked about up until now. And then from there, they can not only manipulate humanity, but they can get more people to be the host for these other demons. So why now, right? If all the way back at like year 0, Lucifer was able to take over the role of God to people on Earth, then why wait so long? Well, once again, as mentioned earlier, these intruders find a way to make someone so afraid that they which would be a very hard and slow process if done on an individual basis for hundreds and hundreds of years. However, with the new invention of television, it's really easy to make a mass amount of people afraid all at once. Remember how there was a message during the child safety time where it said that do not let your children around a television or anything else that can cause frightening imagery? Well, while these things are still in a different dimension and can directly harm you, they're putting out messages through television, they're whispering to people, they're talking to people, and all of that. And also, remember how in MAD it said one of the ways to avoid developing MAD was to avoid religion itself? Well, that's because 2,000 years ago, instead of Jesus becoming the root version of Christianity, it was instead Lucifer. So everything since then has been tainted. That's also the second mention of religion directly within this series. So again, you can't say I brought devil stuff into this, it was already there. So, as a short TLDR of the entire thing, Lucifer overthrew Jesus some time ago and has now slowly been building up an army of demons on Earth. The demons use fear to subtly manipulate people, and through modern electricity and things like analog horror itself, have a means of making people afraid on a mass scale. I just realized this is like true definitive analog horror because even the creatures within the story are using the analog format in order to make people horrified. But through modern electricity are causing fear on a mass scale and doing things like abducting a lot of children at once in order to make that fear go further. And then finally, whenever someone self and that intruder is allowed to become an alternate by possessing that body, that alternate then opens the gateway for more intruders to inhabit our world. And if you come into contact with an intruder, you're stuck, and it's going to torment you forever until it gets what it wants. This is what we saw happen with Mark. This is why police do not respond to phone calls of intruder encounters, and this is why 97% of people who develop MAD is. It seems as if the police are the only ones who really know what's going on in this world. At least they have some sort of idea because they understand concepts of things like alternates, even if they don't get how intruders work. But on the wide scale, because it's still reported on things like local news networks, I think that we're seeing the early stages of this demonic takeover. However, my theory isn't perfect, right? And it still doesn't get to all of the questions. Like, for example, if these creatures exist solely in the spiritual plane, how can they do things like abduct children? Then is there a way to permanently stop these things? We see in the early videos that it recommends that you shoot it or try to neutralize it. Does that actually work? And is this something that the police have done? Or is this just to make you feel better about yourself? And then finally, and at the moment, the most pressing question to me, we still don't know what this was. Think about it. All the other alternates are actively trying to get the process going as fast as they can. However, when Mark was just a kid, this thing was just in his closet and in the dark room by the stairs. It just kind of lived there. This is entirely different from any of the behavior that we've seen out of the intruders or the alternates. And there's a lot of questions that we've yet to see, but I guarantee you are. Let's go through the new episodes that I didn't cover in part 1, break down the pieces of it, and then begin to paint a picture of what's going on. Beginning with the first episode since my last Exhibition. Exhibition opens with the sound of an empty phone line and music rising in the background. This music is the same one that was heard during the death in Intruder Alert. We then cut to an animated biblical story, something that's common throughout the series. This one is called Noah. However, the tape changes when we begin to hear a door knock. Noah looks up to the sky and we see text over the screen videos. So we can assume Noah has been contacted by the church. We then see a picture of a young boy within the church before we're told that this is evidence in the Noah's County investigation. This investigation is over the case 432, the investigation into the death of Heathcliff. Mark Heathcliff, again, is one of the characters from Annabelle County. We see evidence that Lieutenant Davis by Jeremy Thatcher Davis. If Lieutenant Davis was familiar, that's because he was the investigator into the home invasion through the department. So he used to watch the suspect and saw the visuals that was Cambridge, or at the very least, he was present. One of the items from Mark's house came for within the videotape of the
When the Empire surrendered to the Aldmeri Dominion, they shamed us all.
This is intercut with video of him driving down the tree making into the church. It seems to be the same church as the photograph shown earlier. In fact, this is the same church. We can assume that the picture shown earlier wasn't the one. Here, it seems Mark is trying to return to the church in order to find answers given his current ordeal. We continue to see evidence of Mark's paranoia. He takes pictures of the tinted window frame, paces throughout his house.
Hello, friend. In the market for some hunting supplies? Try Hulda, the innkeeper at the Bannered Mare. It's just up the road near the market. You should check in at Dragon's Reach too. There's so much going on these days. The Jarl or his steward might have need of help. Yes, I hear that question often. My brother Honorius and I came up with it one night after consuming rather too much mead. After our drinks, we went out for a moonlight hunt. We got separated, and in his drunken state, my brother mistook me for a deer. He shot an arrow that pierced my, well, rump. After such a memorable adventure, we knew we had the name for our shop.
In the animation, we begin to hear church bells as simply explosive to know. We're then shown at least the false shepherd, who tells them that he is
What are you hunting? Never mind. I don't want to know.
whatever goes on the ark with him won't be able to be seen at first. But by the time Noah does see it, it will give him this
Take a look.
message. We understand this to be a false one. This is similar to Mark, how the alternate forward to Mark, until eventually Mark can take it and the alternate in John's place. Instead of just occurring in 1982, from this position, we can see that all the way back in the times of Noah, the alternates were operating to some degree, and one managed to survive within nuclear bomb. Shortly after the false shepherd disappears, if anyone had any doubts that this story was related to the demonic takeover, the subtitles read 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder, for Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So yeah, the false shepherd is the devil. I could be snarky about how I was wrapping the first video. I already did that, so we're just gonna
Thank you very much for your business.
You tried mercenary work? That might suit you.
This would be right before the first recorded and current outbreak. We don't have a lot of information on the department at this point. I don't know if the reports are needed, but it seems like we know potentially
Welcome. Let me know if you want anything.
This is an
I think I
ode to
got a coffee mug
Skyrim's
around here
staunch
somewhere.
defenders.
I enjoy this work well enough, but I'm ready to retire. I've been thinking of selling the inn to Isolda. Anyway, what do you need?
families. And to drive that matter home, the next message...
People say there is someone in Riften that can change your face, make you look completely different. Do you believe that? The companions? In Jorvaskr? They're recruiting new members from what I hear. Need anything else? Just let me know.
Think you can go blade to blade with me? You'd be dead in 6 seconds. And why not? I could beat anyone in this city, barehanded. 100 gold says I knock your hide to the ground. Just fists. No weapons, no magic, no crime. Let's go. Come on. Well, another maggot squash beneath my feet. You're no liar. Best fight I've had in years. There you are. You're someone who can get things done. I like that. The heat of the battle is the fire that forges the strongest blades. It's an old Nord proverb. That, and a true Nord never misses a chance to test her worth. Good. Chat time's over. Hey, watch it!
As we know, both of them succumbed to the ultimate attacks. And now seeing Adam and Jonah labeled as victims 3 and 4, we could assume that they'll have the same fate, although we'll get to that in a minute. Another thing of note is that it says the two are by
Want to hear a little Nord wisdom? You don't really know a woman until you have a strong drink and a fist fight with her. Keep walking, Softgut. I'm more woman than you can handle. You've been talking to those companions? Too hot-headed, they cried. Weak, pathetic cowards, the lot of them. It wasn't my fault. I told them over and over that it was an accident. They wanted me to prove my worth. So they threw me up against a young whelp of a lad, hardly old enough to grow his first chin hairs. I guess they thought a woman wasn't strong enough to hurt him. I didn't mean for him to die. Why would I want that? I just lost control. Let's not waste any time.
Oh, there once was I'm a bard by trade. Perhaps you've heard of me. Sure. What can I do for you? Ah, a fine but bloody tale. I can do that one. This is a local favorite and one of the first songs I ever learned. Ragnar the Red. Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding to Whiterun from old Rorikstead. And the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of bold battles and gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink all our mead. Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed." So then came clashing and slashing of steel as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal. And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor.
We see that the police are trained to not respond to any call that may have to do with an altar. My interpretation of that line
I don't have much of a reputation in Skyrim yet, but I'm working on that, one sweet lady at a time. There's a whole college up in Solitude where they teach the arts. Song, lute playing, poetry. I studied there myself. Had to leave over a misunderstanding with the headmistress. Or a misunderstanding with her husband. I'm a bard, trained at the Bard's College in Solitude. Wanderers like you should think about applying. Carlotta put you up to this, didn't she? I'm sorry, but that fiery widow is mine. She just doesn't know it yet.
When the GPS remarks that they're 10 minutes from their destination, Jonah says that that's only helpful and that they didn't have to outlaw these. I doubt his face was pure. So, this relates back to the construction order that was issued back in 1992, and we see the effects of that still last up until 2009. It seems that the two had never experienced a GPS before, and Jonah's remark of his face not being able to appear on the GPS relates back to the alternate stereo television. So it seems not only television viewers, but anything on the screen has been outlawed, which it also seems like maybe the bans were working. Because in the conversation we heard a couple minutes before, Adam suggests, what if alternates aren't even real? But given the prevalence we saw in 1992, it would be hard for anyone to doubt their existence. Unless the bans actually worked and made it more difficult for all.
What did you just say? All I heard was a sound of jealousy. I don't have to take that from you. Come on, let's see what you're made of. Not the best you can do.
Which means that, for one, it's not house.
Why won't you die? You know how to throw a punch, I'll give you that.
So now, Adam and Jonah arriving there is not good. They then begin their 3-day stay at the house.
You wait. On my honor, Carlotta won't have to worry about me ever again.
Volume 2 takes place 16 years after Volume 1. As the two set up cameras and take pictures of the house, they come across a locked door. Other than that, however, the house seems to be empty. Both of them are considering ditching the house because they don't seem to find it interesting.
What can I get you?
When this room is found, the GPS
Are you joking? You just rented a room from me.
this code generally indicates the presence of an alternate. After this evidence,
Need anything else? Just let me know.
I'm a bard by trade. Perhaps you've heard of me.
So that night, on night 2, Adam goes inside of the house while Jonah waits outside and monitors the cameras. It's noted for this footage that exposure to the flame causes an eruption. Again, most likely an alternate. Adam begins to use a spirit box to try to communicate to whatever's inside of the house. However, as he hears this, Jonah is operating the radio suddenly screams, indicating that Jonah sees something on the security cameras. However, this message continues to be
Man.
Adam believes that Jonah's just
Let's get going.
and as he begins to get worried, the video continues
Fine,
to
what?
indication of the alternate present. It's then that the third voice joins in on the radio. The voice says, I've been watching you. As Adam begins to teach things
What?
instead of one trying to mess with you. Before the voice continues,
I need you to get out of my way, man.
No, not possible. No, not possible.
Adam's temptation to
That it?
and as Adam begins to eat the apple, the serpent laughs to the side, happy that
What the fuck is going on?
This is so. We have Adam.
I'm still here.
Who is obsessed with these alternates. As soon as he hears the screen inside, he wants to go back in.
What do you need to take?
Interesting when there's actual danger present. And now, thanks to the message on the radio, we know there's alternates there and that they have been watching Adam. And this does nothing but get Adam more interested. He is obsessed with chasing the knowledge of what these alternates are. And that is shown as a parallel to the other Adam, Adam in the garden, tasting of the forbidden fruit. I love that because says that the reason these people lose a mind eventually in their life is because they have been exposed to knowledge which is not desired to be known.
Go on ahead. I'll stand guard.
Chasing that forbidden knowledge has to know what it means. And just as the other Adam chasing the fruit, it'll be his own minds. Eventually, Provo is where it is.
Stormcloaks, Imperials, Dragons. Ain't no matter to me what I kill. Let them come.
Let me know if you see anything you like.
You'll find great happiness. Wake up. Don't make me wait for the others. So, I'm going to elaborate very briefly on
I offer remedies. Do let me know if I can be of service. Pardon me, but do I detect a case of the rattles? I've got something for that. So you're interested in my potions and ingredients?
Before Jonah says the can freeze out, he has to have a check. When Adam leaves, the alternate appears with a flash of the camera and says, "Open your eyes," before perhaps the same or another alternate appears directly in front of the camera and begins to speak in foreign tongues. If you have your captions turned on, right after this alternate is done speaking, the text says, "Patients report multiple..."
Come back anytime if you need a remedy.
Come to chat with an old woman, Your good deed for the day. My friend Maven and I. Have you met Maven in Riften? We know our place in this world. Know the place of others, too. Yes?
What's really interesting is that mission that it is not only the patient has to seek it out. Now, perhaps this is related to everyone who has it.
I work for Bellathor at the general goods store.
Need something? Unlike the rest of my family, I've got work to do.
We hear the cat continuing to meow as Adam takes a picture right on the wall, which says nothing was worth the risk. This being referenced to the police tape, stating that nothing was worth the risk for the alternate account. The two then confirm each other, and like...
Need a horse? Talk to my father, Skullbar.
I'll leave the further description as well. The description makes this video, but the argument they have is Adam's almost nearly mocking him for the situation. John is horrified of what's going on and tries to inform Adam Adam isn't immortal and these days is needed himself dead. Through the conversation, it seems like both
Got the fleetest steeds in all of Skyrim. None of them's older than 9, and the youngest is 6. Now the horse I got for sale is 7 years old, but in fine health. She's got a lot of spirit, that one. We've taken to calling her Queen Alfsiger, or just Ali for short. I expect you can name her anything you like, once she's yours. Suppose so. Got one all settled if you've got the coin.
And that if somehow Adam comes back, what it really means. With this,
You've got a deal. It's the one with the saddle.
So what did Jonah mean by that? I wish we never looked.
Ride strong.
And you can join us in well, this isn't showing us just a minute, but I'll go ahead and tell you now that Adam was the child who was kidnapped by the intruder in Intruder Life. We saw the intruder appear on TV, kidnap the child, and then destroy the son. Infant, the mother, was that child.
Need a ride?
Now we'll get answers to how both that happened in just a minute. But what's
Well, I know the companions make their home here. The mead hall, your Vasker, is the oldest building in the city. Oh, and there's a nasty feud between two families called the Greymanes and the Battleborns. You want to be careful there. The rest you can find out by asking the townsfolk. Start with the barkeep at the Bannered Mare or the Castle Steward.
That doesn't seem to be the case, as Adam is not only alive, he seems to have no memory of his encounter. At least as far as we know. See, these alternates are different when it comes to Adam. And everything that we saw with Caesar and Mark and even Jonah, the alternates are possible. They're trying to get used to be afraid. That seems to be their only attempt to get someone to remove themselves from the picture so that they can take their place. But with Adam, they're not trying to get him in the spirit of fear, they're trying to get him in the spirit of temptation. As the alternate told Adam to follow my voice, you will find that Adam is here. The alternate told Adam to wake up, and then said, don't make me wake the others. If you'll remember, Adam was not the only child who was kidnapped by the alternate in the Restored 3000. So, did Adam forget something? Was there something that the alternate trained him to or told him that he's lost sight of? And is Adam potentially one of thousands of sleeper agents who have the same information? And as the alternate says, he can wake the others. That's also what I meant in the caption about what physical awareness is, where it says that it's not difficult to avoid, but the patient is trying to seek it out. Is that referring to people in Adam's condition, people who are kidnapped by alternate? Because if you'll realize, at no point in all of this was Adam afraid. Even though quite naturally, as the Jonas reaction, fear would be the reaction. But instead, Adam's soul is more curious than me. Maybe it's just because he's familiar with him, even if he's not really aware. It's also for this reason I do not think Jonas was as a child. Again, it lines up with 60 years ago, Adam was a baby, and assumably Jonah would be in the same position. However, if Jonah was kidnapped at a young age, I imagine the alternate would be Adam, since he was the alternate. So Adam is Adam's special, and now he's alone in the house with his alternate. You just believe that Jonah's trying to play. Adam then walks to the bottom of the staircase and sees a television on the screen. This is indicating that there was a cat, and it's the alternate television. Camera then cuts to see that our new angle is from Greg. It seems that Adam is the television. In front of him is the face of the intruder. This is the same intruder who all those years ago kidnapped Adam and his family. Adam asks, what are you? And if you have your subtitles on, you can see the intruder responds, you don't remember me? Before scenes from the scenes and faces begin to flash. We then have some conversation with the spirit box, and it seems Adam is not just talking to the alternates in his face. The alternate asks, what have you done? And Adam replies, I did the right thing. I think Adam is vaguely aware that he was kidnapped by these alternates, but he doesn't remember whatever it is that he wanted to do. He's not afraid of them. As a matter of fact, it seems he's made an active effort to fight against them. And I assume that's what the line of questioning means when the alternate asks what have you done, and Adam says, I did the right thing. In other words, turning from whatever they wanted him to do into the exact opposite. However, he doesn't remember the alternate directly. This raises the question, what is it that the alternate told these kids? See, initially in Intruder Alert, I just assumed it was in order to make the parents distraught because of the static side effect. But it seems now they have celebrated the lie. And whatever that was, As they say this, Adam begins to try to radio Jonah and ask where he is. We then
Well,
cut back to
Honey Brew uses only the finest natural honey, not that sludge you'll find at Golden Glow Estate.
by saying no one knows where you are.
Take a look.
Help you, but they were actually talking about Jonah. I think that the Ultimate's bigger point
Take a
is
look.
Adam, and this would explain why after saying that, Adam immediately begins to panic Jonah. We then cut to Jonah, who is sobbing to himself as he's driving away. A text from the GPS begins to appear, saying you left him behind, along with who are you running from? You left him to die. Finally, open your eyes. Jonah seems to be scared as he's screaming and crying over whatever this entity is. Seems that after leaving Caesar's house, not having the same mark of protection as Adam, Jonah took a ball with him, explaining its corruption and presence in the GPS, indicating error code 333. And then in our final shot of the video, we see that Jonah's car is parked on the side of the road as we hear the door open, and seemingly the noise of Jonah being attacked. Now, Jonah's name is symbolic as well. A lot of people think of Jonah as being a man who was swallowed by a big fish in a well, and then the well threw him up 3 days later. And while that's true, what a lot of people don't realize is why Jonah got to that position in the first place. See, in the biblical story of Jonah, Jonah was called by God to go to the city known as Nineveh and to preach the word of God. Jonah instead tries to run away from God and gets on a boat and in the opposite direction. It's while running away from his responsibilities that the great storm comes, which causes the winds to Jonah eventually throw him into the sea. While thrown into the sea, that's when the great fish swallows him and then takes him to Nineveh before throwing him off the shore. So just as the biblical ran away from his responsibilities and was swallowed by a whale, it seems that this Jonah ran away from God and was swallowed by a whale. I think that
What is it? Dragons?
Jude. Lynn says she can't get the baby to stop crying, and Jude begins to ask if it's blank before Lynn says that it's love. Again, this being an implication of the TV, meaning that the TV has caused the child to be afraid, just to create that blanket. We then see from recently following horse photos, these two are Jude and Lynn Murray. You'll remember Adam, meaning that we are now moving the story of Adam's parents, and Adam is the child of God. The date of the divorce is August 29, 1992. This is within a week of Marty's funeral. As a parent, we see the reflection of a television through someone's eye. As the reflection continues to shift through channels, they begin tunnel. We're then taken to Tuesday, April 4th of 1992. The promotion is of the Lieutenant Patrick Davis and Sergeant Ruth Weaver. Davis is the police officer who was heading the investigation into Mark Heathcliff. We see during this meeting the Illinois County Sheriff's Department that Davis promises to be Weaver. We're then taken to a phone call from the school receptionist who is calling Davis, specifically Davis, to tell her that Mark Heathcliff is school receptionist. This causes Davis to check out his residence and the body of Davis found. Davis begins to take evidence from the crime scene. We see several of the events that Mark's foreman in the evidence follows. There are shell casings all over the bed, implying that he was shooting at something, potentially trying to kill the alternate powder. One of the shell casings we see that the TV is on the set. There's a video of it on the top. Along with that, we also see Bible as well as a photo of that. Reassurances that God wants us to be the time. We then come back to the Tuesday where Sergeant Ruth
Never should have come.
I'll show you what a real orc can do. Cut him down!
hit home for me how hopeless this situation is. Because like I said, it's the armies of hell, but they're in no rush because they know they've already won. Again, moving on from that earth-shattering picture, let's get into another one. We did see the writings of the reassurance of the Empire. We saw the last one was initially Mark reminds us it's very clear through his writings. This explains why he kept trying to go back to church to find answers, why he was reading his Bible, praying, and why now he was trying to remind himself that God was with him. However, you'll remember that is not the person else that makes the connection. Instead, from a certain God is wicked. Mark begins to realize this as he writes in his notebook. Nobody can see it. And whoever reads this has to stop. Before dreadfully remarking, who have I been doing? Then further compound on the notes talking about how the else has war. It only compounds, not really they are out. But whenever you guys are held there, it's the aggressive. We see the same thing. My guess is Mark, that's what happens in my opinion. We get some posters all over the wall. One of them for games and right above this in the slide showing my soccer game. He explains that this footage is for the investigation, however, he was looking to salvage the footage. So what follows is the tape that was recovered from the burning house. This tape is called The Might of the Subconscious. This is also one of the best movies in the entire series. It's created by a character named Stanley. Stanley is based on the character's Limbo. No weird stuff when I am the master of childhood trauma. Kid shows problems. I guess before. But Limbo was no good for obsessive. And just like Limbo, Stanley here is meant to talk to children. Stanley shows up and begins to talk to the child watching. He can help them form imaginary friends. Stanley tells the child to close their eyes and imagine what they want their imaginary friend to look like. Stanley tells them to think really hard and not be afraid because they're just as scared as you are. Before Stanley finishes by saying that it worked, and your new friend is somewhere in your house. For one, right in the house, this was the most
this a surprise? I can't.